never stops. This gonna be a short one. It's not gonna be a long one. I wanted to give y'all my guess prognosis for Game 7 NBA Finals tomorrow, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Um, Pacers force Game 7. OKC potentially missed an opportunity to wrap things up. And here's the thing that I want to start off with. In the NBA Finals, every game is a one of one. Every game is a one of one. And over the course of a series, you can build momentum. Now, I know it might seem contradictory, but hear me out. Each game you go into, there's somewhat of a new ripple in the scheme, something that you learned from in the previous game, something that you're going to add to the current contest. And at the same time, you're going to have an opportunity to show up a little bit differently because you kind of experienced yourself in the previous game. That means the shots that you turned down, the shots that you barely miss, and having a couple days rest in between each game also helps you to make those adjustments to have practice time, go through, different little scheme looks. You're probably not doing anything like 5-on-5. It's probably just mostly walkthroughs and things like that. But you are having an opportunity to do some one-on-one stuff with coaches. If there was a shot that you turned down, you might have an assistant be like, "Hey, let's work on knocking down that shot. Hey, let's work on getting your feet set. Hey, let's work on your balance. Hey, let's work on, getting low coming off of this rub screen. Hey, let's work on this, this, and this." And so you have an opportunity to come into the next game that much more prepared, ready to go. Um, yeah, and the opportunity to potentially perform that much better. Now, here's the thing. I want to go back and forth to say, like what I see from both teams, what they could be carrying into game 7, and what the potential strategies could be. But I'll say this, that I'm anticipating fireworks. I'm anticipating potentially game winner. I don't gamble, I don't bet, but if you do, that might be a good bet, right? A Tyrese Halliburton game winner, Pascal Siakam game winner, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander game winner, J Dub game winner. I would not be shocked by any of them. By any of them. But let me just dive into what I see from both teams right now. Right now, I have to say the best player on the court, the most talented player, the most consistent player, the biggest performer for both teams has to go on the side of Oklahoma City. If I had a little chart, I'd give OKC one right here. They have the best player, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's been the most consistently dominant throughout this series. Even when he had a bunch of turnovers, he was still able to carry the offense for stretches and looked really good. Then you have the best coach. I would have to say Rick Carlisle has had the better schemes and has had that first punch opportunity in the series, getting game 1 and OKC having to figure him out and having to adjust their lineup. Remember, they tried to go with Case and Wallace in the starting lineup. They had to go back to the double big lineup. Puts them at a distinct disadvantage, and at the same time, it plays into Indiana's hands, but they just were not able to keep up starting with Case and Wallace. And so they had to make the first adjustment, which generally tells you the upper hand in terms of scheming, Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers. Secondly, I think the team that has the most momentum right now would have to be the Indiana Pacers. Uh, Not just what I've seen from game 6, but what I've seen over the course of this series. Yes, Tyrese Halliburton has gone up and down. He's kind of more mercurial in his performances. You don't necessarily always know what to expect, though I do expect a big game from him in game 7. All this to say is the guys I've been paying attention to are the role players. Now, I do have to give an advantage for OKC that their role players play best at home. That's been evident. Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Alex Caruso, these guys have shown up, knocked down shots, and been far more effective playing in their home building at OKC than they have in Indiana. But here's the thing. Remember, like I said before, the NBA Finals are like a one of one. Each game is almost an individual contest in itself. And you do have the ability to build up some momentum as you get to observe yourself and how you're playing throughout the course of a series. What I've seen from the Pacers bench, and I mean the deep bench. I'm talking about Ben Shepherd, right? I am not the biggest Ben Shepherd fan at all. Look, let me just be clear. or Benedict Mathurin. I've been disappointed in both. One, Ben Shepherd has turned down far too many shots throughout this series and the playoffs in general. I know he struggled before, even last season in the playoffs. He just gets a little tight, gets a little short, doesn't let it go. But here's the thing: when you're a shooter and you're in the playoffs, you have to anticipate you're going to have a smaller window to get your shot off. You cannot turn down, kick out wide open threes. You cannot. That is taboo. You cannot do that. And he's been doing that far too often. That's been frustrating. Miles Turner as well. He's been doing that similarly, turning down shots. Last game, game 6, he's starting to play more aggressively and figure out other ways to contribute. He actually had his best rebound. It may sound weird, but this is how I watched the game. He had his best rebound of the series. He was tied up with Isaiah Hartenstein. He was able to pin him down, still jump, reach out, grab the ball with one hand, pull it in, right? And I didn't see him making that play. And that shows me he's more engaged mentally. That is a great sign if you're the Indiana Pacers because you've been missing Miles Turner throughout this entire series. You've been missing him. He's been MIA, right? He averaged 16 and 8 with 2 blocks throughout the season, the regular season. I think he's averaging like 14 and 4 or less throughout these finals and playoffs, shooting like 30 something percent from the field, 40 something percent from like just terrible, right? So he's been a relative no show, and that has impacted how you play to a major extent. But gratefully, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell have picked up a lot of the slack, and that is what has allowed them to persevere. Now, what bench do I think is going to show up best? Probably OKC. But I also think that Indiana is going to show up. I think Miles Turner is going to show up. I think that Ben Shepherd, and I noticed last game, Rick Carlisle went with Ben Shepherd when he noticed Ben Shepherd being more aggressive offensively. He went with him over Benedict Mathurin. And that was telling. That was telling because it was a moment where, because sometimes as a coach, you have to do like this offense defense thing and you got to find some sort of balance on the court. If he's turning down shots, you need an offensive punch. And so you might go with one guy coupled with another guy. But the thing is, if you have to choose one, you generally want to go with defense, especially if that defender is giving you offense, because now you have the two-way capability. Benedict Mathurin just hasn't shown that consistency on the defensive end, and sometimes he just fails to do other things besides put shots up. Ben Shepherd showed me some playmaking, shot creation, and a more versatile offensive attack in Game 6. If he can carry that over, that can be a concerted benefit because his defensive, I'll call it solidness. He's not great defensively. Not necessarily even a good defender, but he's solid, right? He does the right things and you can trust him. I think if he is solid enough and he's giving you offense, I think they run with him over Mathurin. But if he's struggling early, I wouldn't be shocked if they put in Mathurin for an offensive punch because if he can give him that 20, 25 in a game, like he's going to have a shot. Mathurin's going to have a moment. He's going to have a shot. And if he knocks down one of or two of his first few shots, expect them to let him roll. Because if he can give him 15, 20 points in a game 7, big boost. That's a huge boost for them, right? They're going to go with whoever's rolling for sure. But I would give the bench advantage to OKC playing at home. I'll say this, that I think that the advantage as the game gets close might be Indiana. And this is why. SGA is a hell of a closer. I trust him, and J-Dub as well. But this is the strategy, if I'm Indiana, that I'm going with. I'm forcing OKC to beat me with SGA, J-Dub, and Chet. And I'm shutting down everybody else. I'm absolutely shutting down everybody else. At the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the third, make a concerted effort. Nobody else gets off. Cason Wallace doesn't get off. Alex Caruso does not get off. LeGuins Dort, shut it down, right? Make him put the ball on the floor and create. Don't let Aaron Wiggins get going. You know he can start filling up threes if he gets it going, right? Shut these guys down early and force their big three to beat you. Because what ends up happening, if all the rest are not hitting, those guys are going to get tired. Their big three is going to get tired. And when they get tired down the end of the stretch of a game and you have a team that's firing on all cylinders collectively, you have a greater ability to close them out, to walk them down or catch them at the end, which I think Indiana has shown that they can be superb at doing. Now, with that said, I think it's still going to be a challenge for them. They're still going to have to deal with a team that has one hell of an offensive punch. OKC, they're going to have one hell of an offensive punch. They're going to have the fans behind them. SGA is going to be feeling himself. I think he has a big game as well. But I think as it comes down, I think Indiana's going to have an opportunity to make some defensive plays. I like Andrew Nembhard. I think he's crunch time, clutch. He's hit big shots before in the playoffs and regular season. He's hit game winners. Pascal Siakam is what he is. He's just damn good at almost everything. And then you have these other guys that are stepping up. And if Tyrese Halliburton, if he can be the X factor, if he can be the guy that shows up, gives you 20 and 10, 20 points, 10 assists, they're going to be right in this game. So if I have to give a prognosis of who I think is going to win this game, I'm going to go with Indiana. That's what I want to see win. If I'm honest, I want to see Indiana win. I want to see him win it. I just do. Been to the finals a couple times already. Weren't able to get past. Or I think they've been to the finals at least once. Once against the Lakers. They weren't able to get past them. And that was a shame. But I think it's their time. I think they can do it. They're the underdogs. All the pressure is on Oklahoma City. They're going to have to figure themselves out. They're going to have to sit with that. And as much as you can talk a good game that there's no pressure, there's pressure. And you're going to feel it. Your fans are watching. Family's watching. You're at home. You're supposed to win. This is what you played all season, have the best record for, to get home court for Game 7 in the NBA Finals. And you've got it. I'm giving the advantage Indiana. I think they're going to pull it out. But let me know what you think in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.